This afternoon, the Aussie just 61. Well, someone has made a rather unscheduled break, I think, in the audience. Dropped something, a glass or something. Neil Robertson's bow tie's hanging off, by the way. A wardrobe malfunction. I don't think he's noticed.
No, it'd be interesting if it fell off and landed on a ball or something on a different shot. That would be, I guess, a foul, wouldn't it?
Well, rather like him in this match, it's at the moment hanging on. But there's nothing wrong with the pot. Nothing wrong with it at all. Just a little tuck up.
Yeah, not too much in that as to whether he was able to cut it in. Shouldn't be any problem just playing off the cushion.
Yeah, this is not a fashion statement he's making. He just hasn't noticed the bow tie.
Well, if it is a fashion statement, it will never catch on, I don't think.
I'm surprised that the referee hasn't said something to him, actually. Maybe Leo hasn't noticed either.
Got away with that. Cao Yupeng. Yeah.
Swan neck.
So, I miss.
Oh dear.
Cao Yupeng, 4.
Yeah, he actually was about to say to Leo Scullion that he didn't hit a red, which of course he meant to hit just a feather of that one. I have seen players in that situation think that they've got a touching ball and play away and the miss is called. But that wasn't one of those. He just tried to get a very thin edge of it. He's looking a little bit crestfallen, isn't he, at the moment, every way. As Dave said, the bow tie's on its last legs. He needs this frame badly. But he might have been given a gift there. He's gone for a plant. Did he have a long look at that? He must have done. Well, it was dead set. The reds were far enough apart. When you play it with speed, you know, your accuracy has got to be even more spot on unless the plant is unmissable.
Well, an interesting visit now for Neil Robertson, looking to get going. As I say, if he can make a big break in the last frame of the afternoon, that does just raise the stakes a little for when they return this evening. Oh, but he's got to pot that first.
Yeah, your tie's come undone. Sorry? Your tie's come undone.
And now he's been told about the bow tie.
Yes, and he will be very disappointed to have missed that shot, because that really was an easy one. Things are going from bad to worse here.
Well, he's sorting out the tie, but the more pressing concern was that miss. He's got to work out how it all works again. It's a bit befuddled at the moment, Neil Robertson.
One.
The thing is, he might not need the bow tie. If he doesn't get another shot in this frame, it doesn't matter.
I think if I could use that word befuddled, I can't think of a better way of describing it, because that's exactly what Neil is at the moment, isn't he? Everything is going wrong. He had a good kiss there. And like you say, he might not get another shot in this session, because he's been knocking in so many breaks, as you've said. He's made... Cao Yupeng has made 7 breaks over 50 in this session. Every time he's got in, he's scored, and that man knows it, and he's feeling the effects. This is not what people thought would happen.
7.
And a lot of people looked at the semi-final lineup. Said Cao Yupeng has done really well to get there, but that's where the run ends. But he's proved everybody who thought that wrong. Well, he's absolutely sickened to be finishing there.
13.
He seemed to know quite a long way in advance that it was going into a bad position. It's one of those where you wish you'd screwed it even harder and maybe pushed that red away from the one near the pocket. Don't see how he can keep it going this break. Not from here.
It may be that, I think it may be broken. And Brendan Moore's just appeared and handed Peggy Lee another bow tie, which may be on its way to Neil Robertson soon. Because he is coming back to the table. He's saying it's broken. There is, Peggy Lee has got another one. If the referee can spot her.
See if I can sew that on.
Here's Brendan Moore. He's holding the replacement.
I've got a replacement there. I'm going to put a replacement jacket for my button. Yeah, the Stetson's come away.
Just use this one for the rest of this?
Yeah, I guess.
So I'll take that one down, try and fix it. If this doesn't come back on, just leave it off for the rest of this. So.
You got a button for my jacket?
Yeah, he's got to wear one. It's in the dress code. But thankfully, another one's been found.
Yeah. I'll fix it later. Yeah.
So just an unscheduled interval while he sorts himself out. He's actually using the window of our commentary box, or he was, to as a mirror.
Yeah.
He's just left now, briefly, and just hope it's not one of those outrageous velvet ones from the 70s that are ludicrously out of fashion.
If it's one of Brendan's, it could be.
I see some strange odd things. Of course, you might wonder why players like Steve Maguire, who was playing well this week, wasn't wearing one, but he has actually got exemption, hasn't he, from doing so?
Well, Alex Higgins, of course, could quite often enter the arena wearing one and then just rip it off. And who's going to argue with him? Well, it's the festive period, and that gentleman is certainly very festive. Well, while we wait for Neil to come back, we'll have a word with Ronnie O'Sullivan. All this has happened, Ronnie, at a pretty critical stage for Neil Robertson.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking, 5-2 down here, and, he's just, that red he missed in the middle there, you just think, you can't afford to miss balls like that, especially in the final. Cal's scoring pretty decent, and I don't know, how do you miss balls like that? I mean, I know we all miss balls, but, the way he played last night against John Higgins and the way he's played all tournament, you really just don't expect it from Neil. So I just, maybe he's just feeling a little bit of pressure here, the expectations of maybe he should be winning this match pretty comfortably, but he isn't.
Yeah, and also his opponent, Cao Yupeng, has scored so well, hasn't he? He's been very solid.
Yeah, he's made some, you know, plenty of 70s, 60s and 80 breaks, and, you know, I think, yeah, he looks very comfortable out there as well, you know, like you say, yesterday against Jardin, today. He looks like, you know, he's not overawed by the occasion at all, which is obviously, you know, it's good for him and not good for Neil, really.
OK, thanks, Ronnie. Well, Neil Robertson, as we can see, has returned, properly dressed, ready to restart.
Yes, but you're absolutely right, Dave. This is a very important part of the match. Without going into the obvious permutations of frames, you know, a 6-2 deficit is a large deficit. I think whatever happens, even if, whether it is 6-2 or 5-3, the period between the afternoon session ending and the evening session starting, that will give both players a lot to think about. Neil will think that he's not out of it. And Yupeng might just be thinking, wow, this is it. This is my moment to win a ranking event. I could be lifting a trophy in a few hours. And that can have dangerous consequences as well, thinking ahead too far. But it's his dream. That's why he started playing snooker in the first place for nights like this. Because he's a long way from being there. This frame might tell us a bit more.
One. Three.
Well, that has made Neil just puff his cheeks out. I don't know how the cue would ended up being behind there. It may go. If we might need a little touch of left-hand side to straighten the angle, but he's cueing awkwardly anyway. I don't think there's many places in that area you could put the ball where there's not an easy red available, but he seems to have found one. I mean, the red to the middle, cueing over another red. Horrible shot. He would definitely need a little trace of left-hand side, I think, on this shot. Played it well, very well, in fact.
Talking of the bow tie business, I remember Robertson's compatriot Quinton Han once arrived for the World Championship qualifiers and didn't have the regulation trousers. Was told if he didn't find a pair, he'd be scratched from the tournament. So he had to go to
11.
the local Marks and Spencers. He got a pair, but he kept the labels on. So he played the match with them with the labels on, and then when the match was over, he took them back, got his money back. But he was what is frequently referred to as a character.
18. Thank you. 90.
Yes, it's been a long session, but he needs to keep some concentration up for the remainder of this, because this is a golden chance, and it's not so much that he needs to win the frame. If he didn't win the frame from being in this position, that would be even worse. The fact that he's got this chance, he has to take it. Either way, we're set up for a great evening session.
27.
Yes, and the danger for Cao Yupeng is that Robertson will then start to play well. He'll play better than he has done this afternoon. So even if Cao here continues in the same vein, if Robertson ups his game, then of course he can turn it round. After all, he once won a match at the World Championship from 11-5 down. 13-12 against Martin Gould, the year he won the title, 2010.
.35. .41. .42.
Well, two reds to the left middle available here. Playing in an area where both were likely to be potable.
50.
So a lead of 40 points, just under actually 39 points when this is potted. Red colour, red is what he needs from here.
56. .26.
Well, the bottom line is he had to win this frame, really, just to stay in touch, and he's done that. Neil Robertson's looking for his
29.
first ranking title for 18 months. Cao, his first as a professional. Sets up a fascinating and an unmissable evening. Been an engrossing opening session, and the real fireworks, you suspect, still to come. The main thing for Robertson here is that he's kept himself in touch. Won that second frame, gave it the fist, gave it the come on. But he's been chasing the game most of the afternoon. He's trailing, coming back tonight. But only by 2. It could have been a lot worse. He's won a key frame there. And this is still in the balance. Cao Yupeng has made the running here. He's made 7.